Welcome back. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Devan. This is our rolling coverage of Russian President Vladimir Putin, who's currently in India. He was accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan forecourt in New Delhi ahead of his summit talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the second day of his state visit to the nation. This is President Putin's first visit to India since the beginning of the Ukraine war, which is currently drawing global attention because of renewed peace efforts involving US President Donald Trump. The 23rd India-Russia annual summit will has commenced at 11:50 a.m. in the Hyderabad House. This will be followed by press statements by Prime Minister Modi and Mr. Putin. The initial statements have already come out. Prime Minister Narendra Modi told Russian President Vladimir Putin that India is on the side of peace and the world should return to peace, referring to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. In his televised opening remarks at the summit, Mr. Modi said that the conflict should come to an end through dialogue and diplomacy. He said, and I quote, "We support a peaceful solution to the conflict." The Prime Minister further, of course, reiterated India's position. On his part, however, the Russian president said that his country is working on a peaceful solution to the conflict as well. Mr. Putin, like I said, is on his first tour of India in 4 years, at a time when New Delhi is engaged in talks with the US for a trade deal to cut punitive tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump on its goods over India's Russian oil purchases. Professor Georgy Toloraya from the Russia Academy of Science joins us live from Moscow. I also have with me on the broadcast Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, Group Captain Dr. B.N. Jha and Colonel Sanjeet Sirohi with us. But let me begin with our guest from Moscow. Professor Toloraya, I have to understand from you. In the past 24 hours, a few statements have been made so far. What has stood out to you the most?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen the latest statements. I know that the talks are undergoing and that there are great expectations because this is the first Putin's visit over 4 years, and it's a state visit, which gives the additional significance. I know that they talked about Ukraine, and of course the points of view differ, but I understand that both sides well understand and respect the points of view of each other, and that Putin is expressed his desire to find a peaceful solution, a final solution to this conflict, which I think would also be welcomed by the Indian side. That's as far as I know right now.
Professor Toloraya, then I have to understand from you, sir, what really is the perception on ground in Russia, in Moscow, as far as this particular visit is concerned? What can you tell us, that's relevant to an Indian audience as well? How is this visit really being perceived?
Say it again, I cannot understand you, sorry.
Professor Toloraya, can you hear me?
Yes, I can't hear you right, sorry. What's the impression on the ground or what?
Yes, the impression on the ground of this particular visit, the time of the visit and the decision of the Russian president to come to India.
Well, I understand that you ask about Russian reaction on the ground of Putin's visit to India. It's very much welcomed. It's one of the most important events, international events over the last years, because due to sanctions, Putin has not traveled much, and his visits has been mostly connected to the neighboring CIS countries and neighboring Eurasian countries, the only exception being the visit to Alaska. This visit to India is of greatest significance, both from the bilateral relations and from the point of view of global politics. That expression, the Russians' outreach for global partners like India, which is the most important, one of the most important players on the world stage. So the impression of this visit in general, I see as highly positive.
Professor Toloraya, what is your assessment, or rather, what is your key takeaway? What are you hopeful will now come out of this particular visit? Keeping the defense pact aside, sir, on a people-to-people level, there is some talk about the mobility of skilled labor from India going into Russia. So, from that front, sir, what is your expectation?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. The connection is bad. But from what I presume that what are the expectations from this visit? Of course, there are expectations for new deals and contracts and economic cooperation, both in defense sector and in other sectors of trade, because our trade have reached maximum from Soviet time. But at the same time, it's really one-sided. There's a great disbalance. So the work is being undertaken to find the products in India which Russia could buy, and so even make the balance more even and more balanced. So this is what the experts expect from this visit, and also the general public also thinks that increase in trade and economic cooperation is important. That's, I think, is the gist of the economic side. But politically speaking, it's much more important than that, as I've mentioned. It's the show of if not of support, and understanding of Russian position, and this is highly welcome.
Right, absolutely. Professor Tolroy, thank you so much, sir, for joining us with that perspective. Appreciate it. Let me also rope in Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta at this point in time. Ambassador Gupta, I have to understand from you as well, sir. As far as some of the initial statements are concerned, a lot of focus has been on our historic ties with Russia. Both President Putin and Prime Minister Modi have touched upon that particular aspect in their opening statements. Why do you think that that messaging is crucial today?
Good afternoon, Devika. This is very, very important because there are very few relationships in this world which have lasted that long. And now we can go back to 75 years in time, and we see that both Russia and India have stood for each other. If we see, this is absolutely time-tested relationship. I don't know any such relationship in the world which has stood the test of time for 75 years. And that is precisely the reason that the Prime Minister broke the protocol, went to the airport, received President Putin with a lot of warmth, brought him in his own. They drove together in the same car and had an informal, dinner at PM's residence. So this is absolutely exceptional. I'm sure the other, panelists would agree that such a relationship does not exist anywhere else.
All right, let me bring in Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jha as well. Group Captain V.N. Jha, your thoughts as well on the same, sir, on some of the initial statements, and in your assessment, what's going to be the big ticket item and the big takeaway from this visit?
Very good afternoon, Devika, and to all your viewers. Look, the very composition of the delegation that has come from Russia gave us an indication that this particular 23rd annual summit of the two nations will be something slightly different from what has been going on. And the amount of or the drafts of the talk or the plans on the table would constitute lot many areas: trade, industry, defense, energy, skilled labor. So all these must have gone through, and in another few minutes I think there will be a joint press conference and we will exactly know. But the very fact that the cabinet ministers from defense, from energy sector, interior ministry, the central bank, and some more atomic energy, they have all come here. That means they have all considered that there is a deal to be done, and that must have gone through. But again, right now I will not elaborate upon what would have gone through. But this particular meeting is at the back of a sanction, very strict, rigid sanction that Russia is facing. All exports from Russia to EU has stopped. All imports from EU to Russia have stopped. I think there is a need for India to take note of it, both India and Russia, and fulfill that vacuum what has been created due to that sanction. India today is a different India. It's a new India. There is a manufacturing going on in the engineering plants, in the consumer forum, in the energy sector. You know, there is India is a chairperson of the Global Solar Alliance, and there in the alternate energy or the renewable energy, Russia could as well join because the gap in the trade is going so huge now that it will be unmanageable in the coming years if all these defense purchases and everything goes through. So I think overall there is a need for Russia to get India on board. There is a free trade agreement talk going on, and this free trade agreement, Russia must understand that India has already had the FTA with Britain. The FTA with EU is going on. Ursula von der Leyen is coming here for the 26th January function. So it is possible that there could be free trade agreement signed with the EU as well. So when India is the signatory to the free trade agreement to entire Europe, then EU and Russia both must take advantage of this when especially their own bilateral trades have gone down. So let us see what all emerges. But then we are looking very thoughtfully, and as per the statement of President Putin himself before coming, this particular bilateral summit will take the relationship many notches higher than where it was standing. So we are waiting for another few minutes, what all has gone through, what all has been achieved, and which all area has been thrust upon. There were a lot of speculation that India may become, the matchmaker or the mediator to stop the war that is going on. Knowing Prime Minister Modi for so many years, I know he will not do it unless both parties express their desire to mediate. Unless that happens, Prime Minister Modi will not indulge into it, he will not venture into it. But yes, he has made it clear that this must stop, war must stop with the bilateral discussion, with the diplomacy. That is how it is there. So wish both nation all the best, that they achieve the best, and some, some amount of constraints that we are feeling, the heat of which is being felt because of the US being slightly indifferent to our ties. I hope USA comes on board. They understand what India is, and then all this, punitive trade tariff that he has imposed, he reverses that thing. And further, that if USA continues behaving the way it has been behaving in the defense sector, where 3 years back signed deal of a Tejas 404G engine is not yet delivered. Just a couple of them have been delivered till now. It is speaking very badly about the trust that India should have in the US, at least for the present being. India would like that this is reversed. US starts behaving the way it is supposed to, it is expected to. So let us hope that all this goes well, and we are looking forward to more cooperation in the many other areas, but time will tell how far it goes. Devika.
Right, absolutely. Let me also bring in Colonel Sanjeet Sirohi into the conversation. Colonel Sirohi, your perspective on the big takeaways. We're getting some live visuals as we speak from the Hyderabad House. As previous panelists have also pointed out, just shortly we will get that live press conference in which we will gain a lot of clarity from that as well as far as the agreements are concerned. But in your assessment, sir, what will be a big takeaway?
Good afternoon, Devika. Firstly, we must see that the background in which these talks are being held. There is a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. A lot of talks have been going on about peace, but nothing has been achieved so far. Number two, there are sanctions on Russia, maximum sanction on Russia, as to cripple the economy of Russia. Number three, there are 50% tariff on India. So if you see both the countries, the sanctions on Russia and 50% tariff on India, I think both of the countries are being punished for the Ukraine-Russia war. Russia is punished because Russia attacked Ukraine, that is what the Americans are thinking, and India because of buying the oil from Russia. So both these countries are facing the same problem from the same country. So with that as a background, I think the major takeaways are Firstly, that the trade deficit which is there, this is in favor of Russia, this has to be reduced. And this trade deficit has increased from 22 onwards because we have been buying a lot of oil from there. So this has to be reduced, and the best way is, since we are facing 50% tariff from America, we must try to find the market for our goods in Russia, as a result of which we will get an alternate for the exports. And secondly, this trade deficit which India is facing with Russia will be reduced. That is number one. Number two, after Operation Sindoor, what we have realized is that there are two weapon systems which have been of great use to Indians during Operation Sindoor. One was BrahMos missile, which was the main weapon system which destroyed 11 air bases in Pakistan, including the Kirana Hills. Number two was the S-400, which was able to stop any missiles or drones coming towards India. So these two weapon systems have done very well. I think with these as a background, India should opt for more S-400s and including S-500. And since there has been now a lot of shortages of aircraft in the Air Force because of going out of MiG-21 and the delay in the Tejas coming, H-1 Mark 1 coming in service because of the engine which Group Captain has talked about, we must go in for some S-57, because if Pakistan gets J-35 from China, which China has offered to Pakistan, now it becomes imperative on us to buy S-57 till we have our own fifth generation aircraft. So I see a lot of things coming up in this. Second thing is that the nuclear energy, although what we are importing, oil what we are importing for Russia will come down and is already come down. Now we must go for nuclear energy. And Russia is also eyeing for technology because of sanctions. All the technology which was coming from the Western world has stopped. So Russia is looking that through India or from India, they must get the technology. So the stakes are very high for both the countries, keeping the present geopolitical scenario in mind and keeping Donald Trump the way he is behaving with, particularly with India. I think a lot of things will come up, and let's wait for the press statement which is going to be released, or both the heads of the state will be talking to the press, and let's see what happens there. Devika.
Okay, all right. Group Captain V.N. Jha, I also want to get your perspective. So, keeping the defense aspect of it aside, I want to get your perspective on what are the various ways in which India can then look at bridging that trade deficit, which has been a key talking point of this visit as well. We've seen a large delegation come in with the Russian president to meet their business counterparts in India. So, how exactly do we really look at bridging that trade deficit and that gap?
Well, there are scores of the draft which is to be dealt in the defense sector. First of all is that we had contracted S-400, 5 squadrons of it, out of which 3 has come, 2 are delayed. So that talk must have gone through. India intends to procure more, at least another 2 or 3 squadrons. That talk also would have gone through. Regarding S-500, I'm not very sure whether India should go for S-500 or not, because S-500 has got 2 distinct advantages over S-400. Firstly, that its killing capacity is almost about 150 to 180 kilometers above the surface of the earth, especially for the ballistic missiles. And secondly, the integration of various types of missiles that it has got is better. Its range is better. So from that perspective, we must understand that India already has a system. Very few people know that our Pradyumna air defense system, which is nothing but Prithvi Mark 1, Prithvi 1, that has got the killing capability of 180 kilometers above the surface of the earth. And if we combine Prithvi air defense system Pradyumna, advanced air defense system Ashwin, along with the Barak 8 QR, quick response or medium range surface to air missile, along with the INS Dhruv, very few people know about this, Devika. INS Dhruv and INS Anvesh, they are the 2 ships which can track any incoming ballistic missile and distinguish whether it is nuclear or not, in about 1,500 odd radius of its range. So if we integrate all this, we already have S-500, better than S-500. So I'm not sure whether we should go for S-500, but yes, it's the Ministry of Defense, they are the three chiefs, they are the CDS, who will be making a call onto this, and any of these defense system, whether it is S-500 or it is Su-57, will not go like this in this restriction. For that, there is a DAP. Through that DAP, they have to follow all the procedures and they will be going through. So I'm not sure about how much of the talk will be going through there. In defense kitty, there are more to talk about. For almost about 7-8 years, talk has been going on that India should get another nuclear submarine on lease. I'm not sure whether it should go. Firstly, we already have our own two nuclear submarines, the INS Arighat and INS Arihant. And third is in making, which should come into the water somewhere late next year. So with three nuclear submarines already with us, I'm not sure whether we should go for the leasing of the another one. On the other hand, Russia is right now in the war. It is getting the threat from UK and Norway. Just yesterday's UK has issued a threat that if any naval asset comes in the international water in their region, they will hunt it. So those things going on, I'm not sure whether Russia will be keen to lease another submarine, but let's see. It's a government's thing how it is planning. But in my perspective, let's go on our own Atmanirbhar. Two nuclear submarines are already there. Third is coming up there. We don't need any. Fourth one will be coming sometime another 2 years or so. That is about one. Secondly, the existing Su-30 that we have got, they are the software upgrades and they are the avionics upgrade, which is to be done, and this talk must have gone through or it will go through subsequently. Our panelists have already spoken about the BrahMos upgradation. Another upgradation is another technology transfer is that Russia has got the KH series of air-to-air missiles, which are the BVR anti-radiation missiles. Now, till now, we have been importing from Russia. Now, with the reformation of our own combat capability of the weapon system, we should get this technology, and our units are ready to make it here in India, because one of the missiles has got the same technology that we have developed. So KH-31 and 58 series, that technology transfer could happen. That would be beneficial to India. And critical technology involved in Sudarshan Chakra that Prime Minister Modi had given a call from the Red Fort, that also could be taken through. So these are few things in the defense arena. Other than that, I have just not talked about the Air Force requirements. Navy has already got the INS, one of the INS aircraft carrier is come from Russia. Their upkeep and maintenance also should be, there are some issues going on that should be addressed.